So we are reading chapter 4 of Bhagavad Gita. We have read 4 verses so far. This chapter is called Transcendental Knowledge, okay, Divya Gyan. And we have to start with verse 5. So far, just a quick summary is that Krishna gave the history of Bhagavad Gita to Arjun. He talked about how the knowledge, this divine knowledge, is passed in a chain of disciplic succession from one teacher to their disciple, and then that disciple becomes the teacher and passes it forward to the next disciple. So each teacher has their own bona fide teacher. They can only be called a teacher if they have their own qualified bona fide teacher, and then they give it to a qualified disciple, and then that disciple can become a qualified teacher for the next disciple. Like that, there is a whole chain of disciplic succession, also called Guru Shishya Parampara, that has been going on. Krishna also mentioned that why he's giving this to Arjun, because Arjun is his friend, his devotee. And we understood various qualities of Arjun, that of course he's in, we all understand he's in mode of goodness, he is submissive, he is loving, forgiving, compassionate, tolerant. He has all those virtues already. So he's in mode of goodness. He's a very good candidate to receive this knowledge. He's like the fertile soil in which this plant of Bhagavad Gita can be sown and it will take roots. Also, there are some external qualifications of Arjun that we often share with regular people. So, for example, one of the qualifications of Arjun is, or one of the qualities of Arjun that makes him a very attractive candidate to Krishna is basically the fact that he's a grhasta, he's a professional. You can say he's a warrior. He's engaged in a duty. Okay, he's not a renunciate. So that's actually his quality. Because in future generations, people will question, which they do these days, that this type of transcendental knowledge is meant for renunciates, like sannyasis or brahmacharis or yogis, ascetics, detached people. They should get this knowledge, or Brahmins should get this knowledge, but not regular ordinary people. So Krishna took such a candidate to give this knowledge to, somebody who was working in this world, who was involved in this world, and who had a lot of responsibilities. So nobody can say in future, because Krishna gave this knowledge to Kshatriya, so nobody can say that this is only meant for Brahmins. Nobody can say this is meant for renunciates, because he gave this knowledge to somebody who's working in this world. Nobody can say that I don't have time for this knowledge, because Arjun did not have any time. He was standing on the battlefield and he had a great war to fight. He had a lot of work cut out for him in front of him. He was really busy. So we are not even as busy as Arjun, as busy as he was, on all fronts, right? Whether it's household, whether it's kingdom, he had a lot of responsibilities. And immediately in front of him, there was a responsibility to fight war. So he was very busy. So nobody can say in future that they don't have time. So Arjun had all these external qualifications and qualities also that made him a very attractive student, a very good candidate, and some internal qualities. The fact that he's in mode of goodness compared to, let's say, somebody like Duryodhan or Dhritarashtra, who are in mode of ignorance and passion. And also people that are basically envious of Krishna, that do not have faith in Krishna. Such people will not be. He wanted to give it to a person who was a devotee, a friend who will listen to him very faithfully, having trust, having conviction in his words. Such a person was chosen. So why Arjun? That question was also answered by Krishna. And then Arjun asked a very valid question after hearing the disciplic succession. He said, how could you have given this knowledge to sun god? Because Krishna said, I gave this knowledge to sun god, Vivaswan, and sun god Vivaswan gave this knowledge to his son, Manu, Vivasvat Manu. And Vivasvat Manu gave this knowledge to his son, the king Ikshvaku. Okay, and then this knowledge has been passed down through generations in the lineage of various saintly kings, because Ikshvaku is a dynasty in which these are Suryavanshis, in which Raghu king will come and Raghu Vamsha will start, and then Lord Ramchandra will also come. So this whole dynasty will receive this knowledge from Ikshvaku. So, but Arjun got confused. You are born in the same timeline as me. How could you have given this knowledge to sun god? So many devotees here also posed this question, which is very, valid question, That is this Bhagavad Gita being spoken for the first time on the battlefield today? Is this knowledge being established by Krishna for the first time? So Krishna will also give this answer now. You will hear from Krishna for the first time in this chapter now. But we already discussed that this knowledge is eternal. It has been established time and time over again by many, many devotees, by Lord himself, by many, many forms of Lord. Just like we were just discussing, the Advaita Acharya also established this knowledge again, and then Mahaprabhu came and he also established. In this way, the knowledge has to be renewed over and over again. In our Bhagavatam reading last night also, we were discussing, like, this is already in our limited lifespan. Like my lifespan, it's very limited. It's nothing. It's like to demigods, my lifespan is like a bubble bursting in water, or like a fruit fly who lives only for a day. That's how our lifespan looks like to them. But already in our life also, we are reading and hearing Bhagavad Gita. Now this is our second reading with a whole different group of people, right? And in a different timeline we are reading. That was, let's say, a few years back, and now we're in a different year. So like that, the knowledge has to keep getting re-established, has to be re-invoked over and over again by different devotees, by different forms of the Lord. So Lord keeps coming to re-establish this knowledge. So this is not the first time he's speaking it. It's actually eternal knowledge, and the first recipient at the beginning of the creation is always Brahmaji. That disciplic succession from Brahmaji. So Krishna is giving a different disciplic succession. He's giving the disciplic succession in the beginning of a particular Manu's um, reign or Manu's rule. But in the front of Bhagavad Gita, the disciplic succession that has been given is at the beginning of creation. So at the beginning of creation, the knowledge is given to Brahmaji. Brahmaji gives it to Narad Muni. Narad Muni gives it to Vyasadev. And from Vyasadev, we have received it through a line of acharyas. That whole line is given in Bhagavad Gita until it has come to us in the form of Bhagavad Gita as it is through Prabhupada. In between, of course, Mahaprabhu and his associates are also mentioned. So the whole lineage is given. What Krishna has given is the beginning of this Manvantar, which is ruled by Vivasvat Manu about 120 million years ago. When this Manu's rule started, Krishna re-established this knowledge again by giving it to Vivasvat Manu, and Vivasvat Manu, or sorry, sun god, then Vivasvat Manu, and then Ikshvaku, and so on and so forth. So this is what we discussed. We also talked about who can give Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada talks a lot about that in the purport, that it has to be a qualified speaker. Ideally, we always say that it should be a devotee of the Lord who has understood the heart of Krishna, who has a relationship with Krishna, who himself has invoked love for Krishna, re-established love for Krishna in their own heart. Only then they are qualified to write commentaries on Bhagavad Gita. So that's why we don't read any other Bhagavad Gita other than Bhagavad Gita as it is, because we know this is proof that this has transformed life. In our lives, we have seen, and lives of many, many people in the world. And who can hear? We talked about it. Submissive people without a challenging spirit, and with the curiosity to know more about Krishna in a very devotional, prayerful mood. Not just intellectual ability, but actually interest in, not just on mental platform, but also interest in applying this knowledge. Typically, speculators, envious people who want it for their own personal agenda will not be able to understand the true import of Bhagavad Gita. So they'll distort the understanding of Bhagavad Gita for their own personal issues, personal goals that they want to achieve. So those are the things we discussed. If you have any questions, if we can hold on to those for a few minutes, let's read a couple verses. Let's start from 4.5. Krishna will start speaking. Very important verse. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Bahuni me vyatitani.
Bahuni me
Janmani tava cha Arjuna.
Janmani tava cha Arjuna.
Tani aham veda sarvani.
Tani aham veda sarvani.
Na tvam vetha parantapa.
Na tvam veta parantapa.
So please mark this as a memory verse, very important verse. This establishes how Krishna is omniscient, how he knows about the past, present, and future. So remember that in our institution, we try to memorize the type of verses which establish, which help us in our preaching mission, which help us in preaching. Not we don't need to memorize all the verses, but especially the ones that convey very important principles, very important points that ordinary people, regular people may not know. And you when you're conveying that point, you can cite those verses to support your knowledge, to support your understanding. That when I say Krishna is omniscient, Krishna has knowledge of past, present, and future, this is where this reference is coming from. Like that. So that's how, like a lawyer stating a law, but also quotes, also cites certain vignettes from his law book. So they know they have the vignettes, they have the um, particular name of the law, right? Memorized, and then they are able to quote it in the court of law. So similarly, when we preach, when we say a principle or a point of understanding, we support it by citing a verse. Let's read this. Can somebody read this translation?
I can read.
Yes.
The personality of Godhead said, "Many, many births, both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you cannot, O subduer of enemy."
Let me just very quickly show the Sanskrit. Bahuni means many. Vyatitani means past. Okay. Janmani, births. Tav cha Arjuna, you and I. So you and I have spent many of the lives together. Okay. Tani aham veda sarvani. I know, I have memory of all those lives or lifetimes or all those pastimes, all those activities we did in past lives. Natvam vetha parantapa. But O Parantapa, O subduer of enemy, conqueror of enemy, you don't know those, you don't remember them. So I remember everything from the past, and he also knows about the future, but you don't know. So even though you are a conqueror of the enemy, remember this word Parantapa also came in Bhagavatam reading last night. Shukdev Goswami used it for Parikshit Maharaj. So Parantapa can refer to anybody that has conquered enemy. This is another name for Arjuna that is often used by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. So here Krishna is saying that I know of everything, past, present, and future, but you don't know. I remember all those births, all those activities and things that actually Krishna knows not only about his activities with his devotees or of a particular devotee, but actually all the activities of all the living beings, not just humans, but all the activities of all the living beings on all the planets in all the universes from all the times, past, present, and future, all times to come. Okay, so he knows all those things. So he's really omniscient, Sarvagya. Okay, please continue, Nagarjan Prabhu.
In the Brahma Samhita 5.33, we have information of many, many incarnations of the Lord. It is stated there, Advaita Achyutam Anadim Anantarupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha Vedeshu Durlabham Madurlabham Atma Bhaktau Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, Krishna, who is the original person, absolute, infallible, without beginning. Although expanded into unlimited forms, he is still the same original, the oldest, and the person always appearing as a fresh youth. Such eternal, blissful, all knowing forms of the Lord are usually not understood by even the best Vedic scholars, but they are always manifest to pure, unalloyed devotees. It is also stated in Brahma Samhita
We can
5.39.
skip this verse for now, Nagarjan Prabhu. We'll read this verse in a few minutes.
Okay.
Just read this.
I
Second
worship the
paragraph.
Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda Krishna, who is always situated in various incarnations such as Rama, Narsimha, and many sub incarnations as well, but who is the original personality of Godhead, known as Krishna, and who incarnates personally also. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So it reminds also of Ete Chamsha Kalapumsa.
Hmm.
And
So
then,
you want to quote that? You want to recite it?
sure. So it's Bhagavatam verse, first canto, second chapter, 67.
It's
3.
third chapter,
Third chapter. Okay.
1.3.28.
Sorry. 1.3.20. Thank you. Way off. Ete chansha kala pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Mridayanti Yuge Yuge. That
Okay.
also says that Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, and from him comes many, many incarnations. All the incarnations that are there, they actually come from Krishna. And then the enemies of in this is not okay. You're
Yeah.
pulling up the Brahma myth.
Indrari. No, I'm not pulling it up.
Okay, okay. That's fine. And then the first shloka that we discussed, this one actually also reminds me of the pastime of when, initially in ISKCON, people started making pictures of, for the Krishna book. They painted Krishna's picture as, as in a lot of these Catholic religions, they paint him as an old man, and Prabhupada said, no, 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 this is wrong. And Prabhupada quoted this verse and said, Krishna is always Nav Yavanam Cha. He is the original person, the oldest, but he's always, that 16, 17-year-old youth. So they changed that to change all the drawings because he's not like portrayed as an old man based upon, this scriptural reference. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for sharing that. Yes. So that verse Nagarjuna Prabhu recited, it's called the it's a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. It's called the Paribhasha Sutra of, or the definition verse, the defining verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Basically, that establishes that Krishna's tu Bhagwan Swayam, that he's the original person, he's the supreme person, original personality of Godhead, from whom all the other forms, incarnations, expansions, portions, plenary portions, and portions of plenary portions of the Lord come. Okay. So this now, with this verse now starts the science of incarnation or the science of avatars. I think a couple classes back somebody was asking about various incarnations. So those questions will be answered if we just keep reading Prabhupada's purports. So here it's very straightforward that Krishna has many anant rupam, many forms, and they are basically unlimited forms. They come, we discussed that these forms of Lord come like waves in the ocean, and they're manifested at different times, different places, to different people in different moods, okay, with different missions, different agendas that they fulfill. And Krishna always comes in his spiritual body, in his transcendental form. Even when he comes, he does not engages with the material energy. He always stays aloof of the material energy. So when he comes, he does not come like us. He comes out of his own free will. Okay, he's not forced to take a body. He comes out of his own free will. He decides who will be his associates, which family or which city or country he will appear. He decides what his activities will be, not like our activities are dictated by the three gunas. His activities are leelas, our activities are karmas, his are leelas, okay, pastimes. They're all playful pastimes of Krishna, every activity that he does. And um, um, he comes and goes as he pleases, and none of the laws of the material world or material energy apply to him, okay, or can touch him. Okay. So that's just a very basic understanding. We'll go into the details of this understanding as we keep reading. But can somebody read the second paragraph?
Hare Krishna, I can read, Mataji.
Yes, miss.
In the Vedas, also, it is said that the Lord, although one without a second, manifests himself in innumerable forms. He is like the Vaidurya stone, which changes colors yet still remains one. All those multiforms are understood by the pure, unalloyed devotee, but not by a simple study of the Vedas. Vedeshu durlabham adurlabham atma bhaktau. Devotees like Arjun are constant companions of the Lord, and whenever the Lord incarnates, the associate devotees also incarnate in order to serve the Lord in different capacities. Arjun is one of these devotees, and in this verse, it is understood that some millions of years ago, when Lord Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita to the sun god Vivaswan, Arjun, in a different capacity, was also present. But the difference between the Lord and Arjun is that the Lord remembered the incident, whereas Arjun could not remember. That is the difference between the part and parcel living entity and the Supreme Lord. Although Arjun is addressed herein as the mighty hero who could subdue the enemies, he is unable to recall what had happened in his various past births. Therefore, a living entity, however great he may be in the material estimation, can never be equal to the Supreme Lord. Anyone who is constant companion of the Lord is certainly a liberated person, but he cannot be equal to the Lord. The Lord is described in the Brahma Samhita as infallible, Achyuta, which means that he never forgets himself, even though he is in material contact. Therefore, the Lord and the living entity can never be equal in all respects, even if the living entity is as liberated as Arjun. Although Arjun is a devotee of the Lord, he sometimes forgets the nature of the Lord, but by the divine grace, a devotee can at once understand the infallible condition of the Lord, whereas a non devotee or a demon cannot understand this transcendental nature. Consequently, these descriptions in the Gita cannot be understood by demonic brains. Krishna remembered acts which were performed by him millions of years before, but Arjun could not, despite the fact that both Krishna and Arjun are eternal in nature. We may also note herein that a living entity forgets everything due to his change of body. But the Lord remembers because he does not change his Sachitananda body, his Advait, which means there is no distinction between his body and himself. Everything in relation to him is spirit, whereas the conditioned soul is different from his material body. And because the Lord's body and self are identical, his position is always different from that of the ordinary living entity, even when he descends to the material platform. The demons cannot adjust themselves to this transcendental nature of the Lord, which the Lord himself explains in the following verse. Hare Krishna.
So very detailed purport. I don't think much to add. Just want to bring your attention to this another name of Krishna, infallible or Achyut. Achyut is used here also in Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Anantarupam. So these are all the, so Krishna has a roop, first of all, form. So this here is against the Mayavad philosophy, right? Which says that Lord has no form. So he has form. In fact, he has many forms, and they're unlimited forms, and they're infallible. So and Vedeshu Durlabham, somebody who just has knowledge of Vedas cannot understand. Adurlabham Atma Bhaktao, but the Bhaktas, those who are Atma means his, those who are his devotees, to them this knowledge or this understanding is Adurlabh, very easy, very saral, very simple. So this knowledge is easily understood by devotees or that are his beloved. But just by the knowledge of Vedas, it may be durlabh, it may be hard to understand. So that's why we keep saying that it is not just a matter of intelligence or intellectual abilities, it's a matter of heart actually. So very important. Um, and then second point is that he's infallible, meaning achyut. So whenever Krishna comes in this world, the main difference between us and him is that we come under the trap of material energy. We are forced to take a body, and we have no say in the matter, what body we get, what family we are born, what people we get in our life. But he comes of his own accord. He chooses the body. He comes in his original forms. He chooses the family. He chooses the country. He chooses his associates. And just like a great man, when he comes, like a president, when he comes, right, when he visits a city, there is a whole entourage that comes with him. You will never see like a president or prime minister just walking by himself on the road. So he will come with a whole entourage. Similarly, when Krishna comes, a whole entourage also comes. So especially when these big leelas happen, like this leela of Krishna or Lord Rama, then there is a whole entourage of devotees that also descend because they're eager to eager to participate in his pastimes. They're eager to engage in various services when he does those pastimes in the material world. When he comes to this material world, he always stays aloof from material energy. The three modes, three gunas cannot influence him. Okay. So his qualities are always transcendental. Okay. Whereas we acquire qualities based on the influence of three modes. Remember, we discussed in third chapter that our swabhav is determined by three modes. But his swabhav, his qualities, his form, his names, his activities, everything is transcendental, not influenced by material energy at all. So Prabhupada is making this point many times that no matter how much anybody tries, even though Arjun is Parantapa, conqueror of enemies, he can never equal the Supreme Lord. No ordinary Jiva. And Arjun is a liberated soul. Arjun is associate of Lord. But to speak of us, who are very ordinary, who are not even liberated, we are conditioned souls. We are Baddha Jeev. So we have so we cannot hope to become equal to the Lord. We can only become servants of the Lord. So we are very small. He is infinite. He's Anadi Ananta. We are same in quality, but very small in quantity. Okay. We do not have knowledge of past, present, future, as Krishna is saying here, whereas Krishna has knowledge of past, present, and future. So he's omniscient. He's also omnipresent, meaning he's sarvyapi, he's present everywhere. Hmm? Remember that verse of Advaita Acharya, sarvato pani padam yat. So he is present everywhere. And he is omnipotent. So he's omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent. He has all energies. Omnipotent means he's the source of all potencies, all energies. So in this way, we are very small, very limited knowledge of our own body, very limited knowledge of our own time frame or our own timeline. And we are present in a very limited space, whereas he's omnipresent. Like that, we are very infinitesimal compared to Lord, who is infinite. Um, if we keep going, I think this science of incarnation of Lord will become clear, because I want to come to the very important verses 4.7, 8, and 9, which are all three memory verses. And in this chapter, 7, 8, and 9 need to be memorized. I think each and every devotee should memorize those verses. So I'm trying to get to them. So let's keep reading. Krishna will talk more about his form next. Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
I was just having a. So I just wanted to talk also about infallible again. Infallible here in these lines, it's mentioned that he does not forget himself, and as you said, that he does not forget. He has this, Satchitananda Rupa, so it is always the same spiritual body. But infallible also means that one who does not make a mistake, right?
Yeah. Does not fall down, basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does not fall down. So he's absolute. We are relative. Yeah. So we make mistakes. We are relative because we are in contact with material energy. So we are not achyut. We are prone to error, whereas he is free from error. So to err is human. We are error prone because we are in contact with this material energy.
I was just thinking of that in context to, how somebody says, a lot of people say, that this is not right, this is not done correctly by Lord. So he does not make a mistake. So everything that happens, or sometimes people say, no, everything is right, but this he did not do right. No, there is nothing that is done wrong by Krishna. It is described in scriptures.
Yes, 100%. Yes. So yeah, this is infallible, can be used in many ways. So basically, the point here is that when he comes, he does not come under the trap of material energy. He does not get a material body. His body is always Satchidanand Roop. Even when he comes here, Krishna says later on in 9th chapter that people think that I get a material body, but actually they compare him to a Mahapurush or an ordinary person. But his form is always transcendental. And each and every form that he comes as, whether it's Vamandev, Varahadev, Narsingadev, Kurma, Matsya, they all exist for all times, eternal. They're all eternal forms, they're all Satchidanand forms. So also that one should not think that those forms exist only for a little bit and then disappear. Those forms are ever existing and ever always performing pastimes in different places for the benefit of different people at different times. Let's keep reading. The science of Lord's incarnation is very deep, very detailed, but Krishna wants us to dwell on this actually. And you will see, he says that if you dwell on this, on my activities, my forms, then that will actually free you from entanglement. So next verse, 4.6. Ajopi san avyayatma.
Ajopi
Ajopi
san
Ajopisan
avyayatma
avyayatma
Bhutanam Ishwaropi san.
Bhutanam
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 Ishwaropi
Ishwaropi
san
san
Prakritim swam adhishtaya.
Prakrite
Prakritim
swam
swam
adhishtaya
adhishtaya
Sambhavami atmamayaya.
Sambhavami
Sambhavami
atmamayaya.
atmamayaya.
Can somebody read this translation?
Okay. Hare
Yes.
Krishna. Although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, by my eternal energy, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form.
Very good. Give me 1 second, Mataji is going to point out Sanskrit. So this is a very significant word here, ajo. Ajo means ajanma, basically somebody who is unborn. Okay. Avyaya means somebody who cannot be destroyed. So he comes in this form which cannot be destroyed. It's a spiritual body. Okay. Bhutanam, so among living entities. Although I'm the Lord of living entities, I appear in my transcendental body, although I'm unborn. And then he says, Prakritim swam adhishtaya, in my original transcendental form, in my original prakriti means in my original form or nature, sambhavami atmamayaya, I appear by my internal energy. So by my internal energy, by my divine potency, I appear. Remember that internal energy is the superior energy of the Lord. This is the Yoga Maya Shakti. And the material energy, which I was talking about before, many times I mentioned that he does not come under the trap of material energy. Material energy refers to inferior energy or Maya Devi, the Mahamaya, okay, under whose control we work, normal people work. But Lord never comes under the control of Mahamaya. He is always under the control of superior energy, which is Yog Maya. So by my Atma Maya, by my energy, by my divine potency, the internal energy, I come in my original transcendental form, in my swam, prakritim swam, my own nature, my own form, which is indestructible, avyaya and ajo, even though I am unborn. So sometimes devotees also translate Atma Maya as causeless mercy, that by my causeless mercy he comes, because he does not have to come. He does not need to come here. He's in his dham, right? He's always enjoying pastimes in his dham with his eternal associates. And spiritual world is much bigger than the material world. Spiritual world is 3/4 the size. It is 3 times, sorry, 3 times the size of the whole material world. So material world is very small. Material world is only 1/3 the size of spiritual world. So there are so many devotees for Krishna to engage with, to perform loving, exchange loving relationships with. And so he does not have to come here, but by his causeless mercy, he comes in his own original transcendental form. This one point you need to know, his original transcendental form. This, he always comes in his spiritual body. So Krishna's body is always spiritual. Yes, Mataji, please continue.
The Lord has spoken about the peculiarity of his birth. Although he may appear like an ordinary person, he remembers everything of his many, many past births, whereas a common man cannot remember what he has done even a few hours before. If someone is asked what he did exactly at the same time one day earlier, it would be very difficult for a common man to answer immediately. He would surely have to dredge his memory to recall what he was doing exactly at the same time one day before. And yet men often dare claim to be God or Krishna. One should not be misled by such meaningless claims. Then again the Lord explains his prakriti or his form. Prakriti means nature, as well as swarupa or one's own form. The Lord says that he appears in his own body. He does not change his body as the common living entity changes from one body to another. The conditioned soul may have one kind of body in the present birth, but he has a different body in the next birth. In the material world, the living entity has no fixed body but transmigrates from one body to another. The Lord, however, does not do so. Whenever he appears, he does so in the same original body by his internal potency. In other words, Krishna appears in this material world in his original eternal form with two hands holding a flute. He appears exactly in his eternal body, uncontaminated by this material world. Although he appears in the same transcendental body and is Lord of the universe, he still appears that he takes his birth like an ordinary living entity. And although his body does not deteriorate like a material body, it still appears that Lord Krishna grows from childhood to boyhood and from boyhood to youth. But astonishingly enough, he never ages beyond youth. At the time of the battle of Kurukshetra, he had many grandchildren at home, or in other words, he had sufficiently aged by material calculations. Still, he looked just like a young man, 20 or 25 years old. He never see a picture. We never see a picture of Krishna in old age because he never grows old like us, although he's the oldest person in the whole creation, past, present, and future. Neither his body nor his intelligence ever deteriorates or changes. Therefore, it is clear that in spite of his being in the material world, he is the same unborn, eternal form of bliss and knowledge, changeless in his transcendental body and intelligence. Factually, his appearance and disappearance are like suns rising, moving before us, and then disappearing from our eyesight. When the sun is out of sight, we think that the sun is set. When the sun is before our eyes, we think that the sun is on the horizon. Actually, the sun is always in its fixed position. But owing to our defective, insufficient senses, we calculate the appearance and the disappearance of the sun in the sky. And because Lord Krishna's appearance and disappearances are completely different from that of an ordinary, common living entity, it is evident that he is eternal, blissful knowledge by his internal potency, and he is never contaminated by material nature. The Vedas also confirm that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is unborn, yet he still appears to take his birth in multi manifestations. The Vedic supplementary literature also confirms that even though the Lord appears to be taking his birth, he is still without change of body.
Mataji, we
In the
can stop
Bhagavad,
here.
sure.
So I think the Prabhupada is further elaborating about this concept. So you can read that last paragraph. But I think the understanding is clear about his appearance, his original eternal form in which he comes, the Shyam Sundar Roop when he comes as Krishna. That is his original eternal form. So many verses are there. Already Nagarjuna Prabhu quoted that Ete Chamsha Kalapumsa from Bhagavatam. Then there is from Brahma Samhita, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Right? So he comes in his original Shyam Sundar form, right? Two hands holding a flute, uncontaminated by the material world. This is the point that Nagarjuna Prabhu was making before, that how people would paint him as an old man, but he never ages beyond youth. So remember, Brahmaji said in Brahma Samhita that Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha. So even though he's the original Adyam, he's the Adi, he's the Adyam Purana Purusham, he's the oldest person in the world, he's the source of everything, right? Sarva Karana Karanam. But Navayovanam Cha. Yet he always retains his youthful appearance. He always looks youthful. So in the Battle of Mahabharata, although he's very old, he has grandchildren and whatnot, but he only appears 20 or 25 years old. So he's never with like a white beard and white hair or wrinkles or anything like that. He's always Navyavana. So always very soft, smooth skin and sukumar body, very gentle, lotus-like features. So that that should be remembered. Let's go to the next one. So here comes our two important verses. These we'll recite a few times. Let's see who remembers these verses and if they can lead us into these verses. So 4.7, 8, and 9 are very significant verses that describe the appearance of Lord. And he himself says from his own mouth, he's saying, why I come. Who knows this verse and wants to lead us? So we'll follow you.
May I, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yada yada hi dharmasya
Yada
Yada
yada hi
hi
dharmasya
glanir bhavati bharata
ग्लानिर्भवति
ग्लानिर्भवति
भारत
भारत
अभ्युत्थानं हि धर्मस्य
अभ्युत्थानम् अधर्मस्य
अभ्युत्थानमधर्मस्य
तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम्
तदात्मानं
तदात्मानं
सृजाम्यहम्.
सृजाम्यहम्.
Let me show the Sanskrit very quick, Prabhu, then you can do the next verse also. So, yada yada hi means whenever and wherever. Dharmasya means dharma or principles of religion. Glani means decline or degradation, deterioration. Bhavati happens, O Bharata, O scion of Bharata, whenever there is decline in religion or principles of religion. Abhyuthanam adharmasya, and there is abhyuthanam means there is utthan, like there is rise. So there is increase of adharma or irreligion. Okay, when there is increase of irreligion and decline in religion, tadatmanam, atmanam means self, I, myself. Srijamyaham, I manifest or I appear myself. Okay, so this is the first very important verse. I have already told you some memory verses so far, like 4.1, 4.2, and 4.6. 5 or 6, one of those I told you. But these 7, 8, 9 definitely need to be memorized. Let's do the next one. Prabhuji, you want to say this one?
Yes, Mataji. परित्राणाय साधूनां
परित्राणाय साधूनां
विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां
विनाशाय च
च
दुष्कृताम्
दुष्कृताम्
धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय
धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय
संभवामि युगे युगे.
संभवामि
Sambhavami
युगे
युगे
yuge
युगे.
yuge.
So let's look at the Sanskrit and then we will recite it few more times, okay? Paritranaya sadhunam. So paritranaya means deliverance of sadhus, means devotees, okay? Or of the pious people or devotees. Paritranaya means deliverance, meaning, so deliverance can mean many things, like for exchanging loving relationships with them, for engaging with them, for giving pleasure to them, right? So to give pleasure to the devotees, basically. So first, he's giving 3 reasons why he comes. The first reason is to give this, and this is the most important reason why Krishna comes. Actually, more than establishing religion, this is considered the most important reason why he comes. So paritranaya sadhuna, because nobody else is capable of giving pleasure to devotees. Anybody can establish religion. His representatives, his devotees can establish religion. Demons can be killed by somebody else, but nobody else can give pleasure to devotees other than Krishna. So this is the most important reason. So to give pleasure to devotees, okay. Vinashaya cha dushkritam, also to, for the vinash or for the annihilation or destruction of dushkritam. Dushkritam meaning the demons or the miscreants, like the deviants, okay, that are not following dharma. Dharma samsthapanarthaya. Artha means for the purpose of, like for the reason, for the cause. So for the purpose of establishing dharma, samsthapana means to establish dharma. So for the purpose of establishing dharma, sambhavami. Sambhavami, this is a verb. Ami, when it says, like I say, pashyami means I see, patami, I read, okay? Gachami, I go, I. So when I do something, the verb ami is used. Sambhavami, I myself come, okay? Yuge, yuge. So I appear millennium after millennium. Okay, so millennium here refers to like the yugas or the chatur yugas that we have discussed. Sambhavami, yuge, yuge. So I appear myself for these 3 purposes. Line 1, line 2, line 3 give the 3 purposes. And let's do the next verse also, because these 3 go together hand in hand. Prabhuji wanted to do this one also.
Yes, Mataji. जन्म कर्म चा मे दिव्यम
जन्म
जन्म
कर्म
कर्म
च
च
मे
मे
दिव्यम्
Me
दिव्यम्
divyam.
एवं ये वेति तत्वतः
एवं
एवं
यो
यो
वेत्ति
वेत्ति
तत्त्वतः
तत्त्वतः
त्यक्त्वा देह पुनर्जन्म
त्यक्त्वा
त्यक्त्वा
देहं
देहं
पुनर्जन्म
पुनर्जन्म
नैति मामेति सो अर्जुन.
नयति
नैति
मामेति
मामेति
सो अर्जुन.
सोऽर्जुन।
So Krishna said, why do I come? Okay, whenever there is decline in religion and increase in religion, then he gives 3 reasons in a proper sequence. Then he says, Janma karma cha me divyam. Whoever evam yo veti tatvata. Whoever understands my janma means my appearance, and my karma means my activities. Whoever veti means understands or knows. Whoever understands that my appearance and activities are divya or transcendental, they are spiritual, they are divine. Okay, that person, what will happen to that person? Tyaktva deham punarjanma. After giving up this body, tyaktva means after giving up this deha, this body, punarjanma naeti. Okay, so this goes with the next line. Punarjanma naeti. So punarjanma or next birth will not happen for such a soul who understands my appearance and activities to be transcendental. Mameti. In fact, he will achieve me. So means he will come back to me, O Arjun. So, O Arjun, this is how important it is for us to understand Krishna's activities and appearance. That's why we're spending some time on this portion where Krishna himself mentions why he comes and what the whole science of incarnation, whole science of avatars, the science of appearance of Lord. Because this is very important. Krishna has guaranteed in this verse that if you understand this science, why I come, Janma, my appearance, and what activities I perform. Okay, so somebody who will absorb themselves in these matters, for whom these matters are more important, uh, who understands them properly to be divya, to be transcendental, that person will not come back to this material world. So this is your ticket to Vaikuntha, ticket back to Godhead, that you need to understand Lord's activities and pastimes, Lord's appearance nicely. Okay, so a lot of people spend their time in meditating on the pastimes of ordinary people of this world. They're watching news forever and thinking about the events of this world, or why this politician did this or this celebrity did that, why are their activities like this, or they look like this. They're discussing their forms, their bodies, their this so and so celebrity looks like this, has this type of dresses or haircuts, or so they're spending so much time discussing the names, forms, qualities, and activities of these ordinary people of this world. But all that just entangles us. Okay, all that just causes impurification, like contamination of our consciousness. All that causes more ignorance. It brings fears, it brings attachment, it brings so many problems, anger. But when you meditate on the pastimes, appearance, and activities of the Lord, name, form, qualities, pastimes of the Lord, then that actually, and Krishna will tell you this in 4.10, the next verse after all these 3, he will say that this will bring you knowledge, this will bring you purity, this will bring you freedom from fear, attachment, and anger. So all these things will go away. Whereas if you meditate on ordinary people, ordinary events and things of this world, then that actually has opposite effect, and that takes one away from Krishna. Okay, our enjoy tendency grows and our servitude goes down. So let's have whoever knows this verse recite, these verses recite. I'll keep them on the screen so whoever does not know can still see. So at least I need maybe 2 or 3 people to recite these verses.
Okay, I can try.
Recite. Okay.
Yes,
यदा
please.
यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत
We'll follow after you. Yada yada hi dharmasya
Dharmasya glanirбhavati
Nirbhavati
bharata
Bharata
अभ्युत्थान
abhyuthanam adharmasya
धर्मस्य तदात्मानं
tadatmanam
सृजाम्यहम्
srijamyaham
abhyuthanam
Nārangi
dharmasya
adharmasya
tadatmanam
Tadatmanam
srijamyaham.
Srijamyaham.
Namita Mataji, you were reciting, right?
Sure. यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य
Yada
Yada
yada hi
yada hi
dharmasya
dharmasya
ग्लानिर्भवति भारत
glanirabhavati
Nirбhavati
bharata
Bharata
अभ्युत्थानम् अधर्मस्य
abhyuthanam
अभ्युत्थानं
adharmasya
धर्मस्य
तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम्
Tadatmanam
Atmanam
srijamyaham.
Srijamyaham.
Okay. Anybody else wants to recite this?
Yes,
Can
I
I
want
try,
to.
Yes,
Mataji?
me too.
Someone from memory.
Yes,
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
I,
remember.
Okay. Hold on. Mom, then Rekha Mataji, then Vedi.
Yeah, me too.
Yada yada hi dharmasya
Yada
यदा
yada
यदा
hi
हि
dharmasya
धर्मस्य
glanirбhavति bharata
glanirбhavati
Nirbhavati
bharata
Bharata
abhyuthanam dharmasya
Abhyuthanam
abhyuthanam
धर्मस्य
adharmasya
tadatmanam srajamaham.
tadatmanam
तदात्मानं
srijamyaham.
Srijamyaham.
तो अभ्युत्थानम अधर्मस्य अधर्म का जब बढ़ता है राइट और अधर्म इंक्रीजेस अभ्युत्थानम अधर्मस्य तदात्मानम सृजाम्यहम सृजा if you look at that word srijami and aham are joined together in a sandhi to make srijamyaham. So if you can speak it like that it'll be nice. If not, srijami aham will also be okay, but if you are able to understand Devanagari and can speak like this srijamyaham.
Abhyuthanam adharmasya.
Okay. And then Rekha Mataji, please go ahead.
yes. 4.7. Yada yada hi dharmasya
Yada
यदा
yada
यदा हि
hi
धर्मस्य
Dharmasya
ग्लानिर्भवति भारता
glanirбhavati
ग्लानिर्भवति
bharatata
भारत
Bharata
अभ्युत्थानम् अधर्मस्य
abhyuthanam
Abhyuthanam
adharmasya
Adharmasya
धर्मस्य
तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम्
tadatmanam
Atmanam
srijamyaham.
Srijam.
of the Lord's form or body, since all of the forms are eternally existent. Therefore, Srajami means that the Lord manifests himself as he is. Although the Lord appears on schedule, namely at the end of the Dwapar Yuga of the 28th millennium of the 7th Manu in one day of Brahma, he has no obligation to adhere to such rules and regulations because he is completely free to act in many ways at his will. He therefore appears by his own will whenever there is a predominance of irreligiosity and a disappearance of true religion. Principles of religion are laid down in the Vedas, and any discrepancy in the matter of properly executing the rules of the Vedas makes one irreligious. In the Bhagavatam, it is stated that such principles are the laws of the Lord. Only the Lord can manufacture a system of religion. The Vedas are also accepted as originally spoken by the Lord Himself to Brahma from within his heart. Therefore, the principles of dharma or religion are the direct orders of the Supreme Personality of the Godhead. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam.
Pranitam.
Pranitam. Uh, okay. These principles are clearly indicated throughout the Bhagavad Gita. The purpose of the Vedas is to establish such principles under the order of the Supreme Lord, and the Lord directly orders at the end of the Gita that the highest principle of religion is to surrender unto Him only and nothing more. The Vedic principles push one towards complete surrender unto Him, and whenever such principles are disturbed by the demonic, the Lord appears. From the Bhagavatam, we understand that Lord Buddha is the incarnation of Krishna, who appeared when materialism was rampant and materialists were using the pretext of the authority of the Vedas. Although there are certain restrictive rules and regulations regarding animal sacrifice for particular purposes in the Vedas, people of demonic tendency still took to the animal sacrifice without reference to the Vedic principles. Lord Buddha appeared in order to stop this nonsense and to establish the Vedic principles of non violence. Therefore, each and every avatara or incarnation of the Lord has a particular mission, and they are all described in the revealed scriptures. Hari Krishna. Is it more,
Yeah,
Mataji?
you can finish this paragraph, Mataji.
Okay.
No one.
No one No, Ji Mataji. No one should be accepted as an avatara unless he is referred to by scriptures. It is not a fact that the Lord appears only on Indian soil. He can manifest himself anywhere and everywhere, and whenever he desires to appear. In each and every incarnation, he speaks as much about religion as can be understood by the particular people under their particular circumstances. But the mission is the same, to lead people to God consciousness and obedience to the principles of religion. Sometimes he descends personally, and sometimes he sends his bona fide representatives in the form of his son or servant or himself in some disguised form. Can you pull up?
We can stop here, Mataji.
Okay,
So
okay.
the rest we can read ourselves. I think it's but let's discuss this. So basically, in the beginning of the purport, Prabhupada is saying that Krishna comes himself. Now, this is again the technical part of it. When does Krishna come? So just so everybody knows, Krishna comes only once in the day of Brahmaji. Remember that the day of Brahmaji has 1,000 Chaturyugas, and Krishna comes only in the afternoon of Brahmaji. So when it's the middle of the day for Brahmaji. So middle of the day means when about 7th Manu's rule is going on, which is right now. So Vivasvat Manu is the 7th Manu. His rule is going on right now. In that, he comes in the uh, middle of the day of Brahmaji, and so he comes only once a day. So in the end of the Dwapar Yuga, okay? And what is yesterday we were fumbling about this. I was not sure what is how many yugas have passed in the present Manu's reign. So here Prabhupada is giving us 28 millenniums have passed. And remember that one Manu rules for how many Chatur yugas? We did this math. 70, yes. 70 Chatur yugas, 70 Chatur yugas. So
About 74, Mataji.
So typically 70 is
Yeah.
given just based on the calculation, 1,000 divided by 14. So that comes up to like
Correct.
9. Yeah.
74.
So, yeah, 72, 70. So 28 of those has passed. So 28 millenniums have passed of the 7th Manu. And so I just wanted to bring this to your attention, not to discuss the technicalities of it, but to understand how fortunate we are that Krishna appears once in the day of Brahmaji and in only a particular time frame, right? And we are in that time frame when Krishna just appeared in our millennium, in our Chatur Yuga. So the Chatur Yuga that is currently going on, the Dwapar Yuga that passed, that's when Krishna came. And in the same Yuga, same millennium, when Krishna comes, in that same Kali Yuga, Mahaprabhu comes. So Mahaprabhu comes immediately after Krishna. So when Krishna comes in Dwapar Yuga, Mahaprabhu comes in that same Kali Yuga. So we are very lucky to be born in this particular cycle of Chatur Yuga. We are somewhere in the middle of the day of Brahmaji, where Krishna came and Mahaprabhu also came. So that's how lucky we are that we got this knowledge just 5,000 years back, and then this knowledge was reinforced by Mahaprabhu, and its practical application was given by Mahaprabhu and his Goswamis, his associates. So that's why I wanted to bring this point to your attention, that Krishna comes only once in a day of Brahmaji. He comes every day, but only once in a day. And we are lucky to be in that particular cycle of Chatur Yugas when Krishna came. Other thing I wanted to bring your attention to was the definition of dharma. So Prabhupada has spent some time on it because Krishna says that yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuthanam adharmasya. So dharma is a big word in this verse, that whenever there is decline in dharma and whenever there is rise in adharma. So dharma, Prabhupada is saying, is basically the principles that are mentioned in Vedas or in scriptures. And they are given directly by the Lord himself. Nobody other than Lord can manufacture a system of religion. So nobody can come up with certain principles or rules or regulations. The rules, the regulations, the principles are already given by Krishna in the form of this knowledge or Vedic knowledge in the Vedas. So when one adheres to those principles, then they're following dharma. And when they go against those principles, then they're following adharma. They're breaking those rules of Lord, the law of the Lord. Then that is adharma. And Bhagavatam gives this beautiful verse. This is a sense of the definition of dharma, it comes in 6th canto, 6.3.19. It says dharmam tu sakshat bhagavad pranitam. So dharma is that which is according to the Supreme Lord, or which gives pleasure to the Supreme Lord. So dharma is that which is according to the injunctions or according to the um, will or wish of the Supreme Lord. So if you're performing, if you're carrying out, conducting according to the rules or wish or will of the Supreme Lord, then that is dharma. So dharma is basically the heart of the Lord. It is what Lord desires. So the code of conduct that we follow, the prescribed duties that we take up, whatever regulations we follow, discipline we follow, that should be according to the rules given by Supreme Lord, and nobody can manufacture it. And we have already discussed this last time, that this dharma was, this Vedic principles are coming from the Supreme Lord himself. At the beginning of the creation, they are given to Brahmaji. The next point that I want to bring your attention to in this paragraph is Prabhupada mentions that every avatara of the Lord will be mentioned in the scriptures. So nobody can say that I am an avatar, I'm an incarnation of the Lord. Nobody can manufacture an avatar. Nobody can say that such and such person is an avatar, because it has to be mentioned in the scripture. So those avatars are considered legitimate, are qualified, that are mentioned in the scriptures. Their details will be given, their associates, their pastimes, their place of appearance, time of appearance, all those details will be given in scriptures. Only then we will accept them as a bona fide avatar or incarnation. So no Tom, Dick, and Harry can come and say that he's the avatar. Okay, that's one thing. Another thing Prabhupada is emphasizing is that each avatar has a particular mission. We discussed this very briefly. Each avatar, each form of the Lord has an external and an internal mission. Okay, we are mostly concerned with external mission. External means the activities that Lord does outside, okay? And internal means that what Lord performs, some desire, fulfills some desires of his own heart with his devotees, like some loving exchanges or some things that he wants to uh, exchange with his devotees that are very internal reasons. Those reasons may not be revealed to us for each and every form, but external reasons of the incarnation are apparent to us through their activities, through the scriptures. For example, Krishna's external reason of appearance is that, Bhumi Devi came to him and she requested that the burden of earth will be decreased. So he killed all these demons when he was young, right? He killed so many demons when he was young. And then in the Mahabharata, so many irreligious, sinful kings that were just criminals posing as kings, they were all killed. So in this way, the burden of the earth was relieved. Krishna also establishes, Krishna is also a Yuga avatar who establishes Yug Dharma. So he establishes temple worship or deity worship also. So those are some external reasons. And then, of course, he establishes Dharma in the form of Bhagavad Gita knowledge. Similarly, Mahaprabhu also, external reasons are that he comes to establish holy name, Sankirtan, as the Yug Dharma. Mahaprabhu is the Yuga avatar. He establishes the Yug Dharma, which is chanting of the holy name, Sankirtan movement, externally. And he gives it to all people, whether they are qualified or not. He does not look at their qualifications. He does not look at their yogyata na vichare. That's Mahaprabhu. So basically, each incarnation has a mission, particular mission, and each carnation will be revealed in the scriptures. And some of those missions are sometimes carried out by Lord himself, and some missions are performed by Lord's representatives. So for example, his son might come, like it is said that Jesus would call himself the Son of God, right? Jesus is called Son of the God. Or his servants might come, right? Some certain acharyas, gurus, certain prophets, or like Muhammad. So certain messiahs or representatives will come. These are servants of the Lord. Or he may come in some disguised form. May come in some hidden form, like Mahaprabhu was a Channa avatar or a hidden avatar of Krishna. We'll go into details of the avatar. There are different categories of avatars also, but this is what is given in this particular purport by Prabhupada. Another thing Prabhupada has given is that, okay, there are dharmas, there are rules and rituals and regulations to follow, but the highest principle is to surrender unto the Lord, okay? So any if you're not sure which principle to follow, remember the highest principle should be followed. Everything else is lower than that. Highest principle should be surrender to the Lord. And Vedas are a gradual study of dharma. Vedas gradually take us to that position where we ultimately surrender to the Lord. So gradually they uplift our consciousness, gradually they create detachment, purification, and knowledge in us so that we rise to the platform of complete surrender to the Lord. That's another thing to remember, that the highest principle is surrender to the Lord. I think we can stop. We've exceeded time. Yeah,
Mataji,
let's.
I need to
Yes, Prabhu.
mention here, and I have question as well.
Yes, Prabhu.
So, yada yada hi dharmasya uh, uh, verse and paritranaya sadhuna. Based on these two, I built. So that means some bad or adharma will happen. Krishna already clearly mentioned. uh, I will take the avatar whenever the adharma will happen. That means adharma will happen. Adharma should happen, right? Adharma should happen. I will come. There is no doubt here. Correct, Mataji.
Mm.
So that is one thing, and I'm just explain. I'm just
Yes,
what I
Prabhu.
understood
Yes, Prabhu.
based on his Krishnaji mentioned, something will happen bad. I will come. That means is in his mind, or I cannot say that.
Mm-hmm.
It's in my own language. It's easy. I interpreted myself.
Yes,
Something will happen. Always bad will happen,
right.
or sometime will happen. I will come. That is my understanding. First thing. Second is I will take avatar only when the bad will happen. But until unless we cannot see Krishna. But he is available everywhere. Is
Mm.
it true or false? That is my interpretation
Mm.
only.
Yes,
I did
Prabhu.
not read anywhere.
Mm.
You understand, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, yeah. Thank you for sharing your realization. The
Yeah, yeah,
first,
yeah.
let me elaborate on the first one. Very nicely, you said that dharma is bound to happen, right? Decline of religion or religiosity or sin, crime is bound to happen. So, and that is the nature of this world. Everything is, there is gravity, right? Everything is pulled downward. Let's say, very basic, crude example of our daily life. We take bath every day, but we get dirty over the day or not, right? We have to clean our body every day. So similarly, this material world also gravitates towards impurity, contamination, sin, crime, right? Lower modes, ignorance and passion rises. So criminal elements or miscreants, demons rise. Those forces slowly become prominent over time. Like even when Krishna established this dharma, soon after Adharma started again. So Bhagavatam had to be brought up. Bhagavatam came right at the start of at the start of Kali Yuga. Then during Kali Yuga, within a few years, again Dharma declines. So then Mahaprabhu came, and even after Mahaprabhu came, the series of Goswamis came. There is a very wonderful acharya in a tradition called Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Even when Bhakti Vinod Thakur came before then, Dharma had already declined so much that he had it was a struggle to find scriptures. He was struggling so hard to find even a single copy of these, Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita and Chaitanya Charitamrita and whatnot. So again, so then devotees keep re-establishing this, right? That's why I was saying we have to do these classes over and over again. We have to keep reading Bhagavad Gita every day. Right, every day we have to bathe in the nectar of Bhagavad Gita, because even in our own life, even in the span of a day, we see that our consciousness declines. We get prone towards, if we don't read Bhagavad Gita for a few days, don't associate with devotees or eat prasadam for a few days, you will see that you don't feel so good and you feel attracted towards the material world. So
Yes,
it
Mataji.
has to be kept establishing. Second point, yes, if whenever there is a reason, a premise is made for Lord to appear. So typically it looks like a very dire state of things happens, like, oh, this little child Prahlad is being tortured by the demonic father, and the demonic father has overcome all the demigods and has become the ruler of the whole cosmic creation. So it looks like everything is very um, very bad, very negative, very dismal, very depressed situation arises. So then Lord appears like the sun, and You know, he's like the hero. So he comes when the villain seems to be on top. The villain seems to be winning. So that is just Lord's pastimes. He can come of his own free will at any time, of course. But to us, it appears in the revealed scriptures that yes, when a religion is on the rise, he comes. Most important reason to remember is that he comes to exchange loving relationships with devotees. That's why Paritranaya Sadhunam is most important. Anybody can take care of the miscreants or the demons. Anybody can establish dharma again. Devotees can do that on his behalf. Demigods can do that on his behalf. Devi Devtas can kill the demons. But nobody can exchange loving relationships with devotees other than the Supreme Lord himself, because they want just him. So our Narsingh Arti says, Prahlad Alad Dadaine, that he comes to give pleasure to Prahlad Maharaj. Killing Hiranyakashipu was secondary. Giving pleasure to Prahlad was more important. So Prahlad Ahlad. So he comes to give Ahlad. Ahlad means bliss, very deep, profound bliss to the devotees. So in all these pastimes, you see that Krishna engages devotees in his services, like Lord Ramachandra, right? When he comes, such elaborate pastimes are created where he engages devotees in service, like build the Ram Setu, right? Build the bridge, or find Sita for me, so or fight in this war for me. Or right now, Arjun is saying to Krishna is saying to Arjun, fight in this war. So he engages devotees in services because he knows that devotees like to do that. He engages loving pastimes with them, loving relationships, right? And another thing he does through devotees is he sets very hard examples for the world through devotees. Some very hard examples. Like, for example, Bhishma was given Bhishma is a pure devotee of the Lord. He's Mahajan. He's a Mahajan, one of the 12 Mahajans. Yet he was given this hard task to be on the side of Adharma so that he can set an example that how, even though you're so powerful, but if you stand opposite to Krishna, the defeat is guaranteed, right? Failure is guaranteed. So sometimes hard examples are set through devotees also. Or Yudhishthir Maharaj in the gambling match, that if you break the principle of religion, if you're gambling, what can be the consequences of that? Or Mother Kekai, who's a pure devotee of the Lord, she's put in this situation, which sends Lord away. So basically, hard examples are set up by Lord through devotees also. So many reasons. Well, just wanted to share those understandings.
Correct, Mataji. Yeah.
Let's see, Ravi Prabhu is sharing something. Prabhu, please go ahead.
Yes, Mataji, I just wanted to, the Ramchandra Prabhuji said that God will only come when there is some very high disturbances. But Prabhuji, to add in that, God comes to, as Mataji just said, Paritranaya Sadhuna. So Krishna Bhagavan comes now also. It's a devotee, how he is asking, whether he is fully surrendered to Krishna and he has no one besides Krishna. Krishna, there are so many examples in the scripture, in the current scripture, that Krishna comes and takes care of his devotee. So that he comes at a mass level, as we are discussing here, when there are too much going on around the horizon, then he'll come. But if if I want him to come, if I have that kind of devotion for him, I'm fully surrendered to him, I have no one besides him, he will come right away now to meet with me and give me pleasure. So it depends on our sadhana and our devotion and our surrender. Doesn't have to be totally nonsense all around the world. He can come right away, Prabhuji.
Thanks, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for sharing that. Yes. Any other realizations anybody else wants to share?
And
Puja Mataji, Hiral Mataji. Let me see, Prabhu, very quickly. Yes, Prabhu, go ahead.
Mataji, I have another question, but I will ask next class regarding the Janma Karma Chame.
Yeah, we'll discuss. Let's read that verse. We have to read one more verse before then. Maybe your question will get answered as we discuss.
Yeah, 4.9 Mataji, we will discuss next session.
Prabhu, I will also recommend reading Srimad Bhagavatam, the first canto, has details of appearance of the Lord. All the incarnations are mentioned there. But this is a very deep subject. That's why in that verse 4.9, Krishna says that whoever understands the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities will get liberated, will come back to me. So it can't be that easy to understand, right? If that
Yes, yes,
if that's the ticket back to Godhead, then that must be hard to earn that
yeah,
ticket.
correct,
So
Mataji.
yeah.
I am very, very close to Gajendra Moksham in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. So I always have in my office bag
Yes.
Gajendra Moksham book. I am always inspired that story and that narration in Bhagavatam. So yeah, the Bhagavatam is ultimate, Mataji. But I did not read all the what you say skandhas, or I'm not
Sure,
familiar.
sure.
But only Gajendra Moksham, I'm very much familiar, Mataji.
Do you have the Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhu?
I did not read Prabhuji, but
Okay.
only few Prahalada Charit,
But
and
you have it
Gajendra.
with you, all the
No,
cantos?
I don't have, but I need Telugu version,
So this
Prabhuji.
Okay,
is
okay.
Srimad Bhagavatam. You see the whole.
Do you have the Telugu version, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu, we
Yes,
can get the
Prabhu.
Telugu for you. If you need it, we can get it.
Yes, Prabhuji. Then I will take it.
But yeah, it comes in 8th canto. So once you have
Uh, uh,
Bhagavatam, you can start reading. Yeah, that'll be very nice.
yeah, I cannot read
Last.
it. Yeah, I will start, Mataji.
Okay. Any other questions or realizations? If not, we'll stop. We've exceeded the time. Thank you everyone for joining. Very, very grateful to each and every one of you. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Jagadguru
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare
Hare
Krishna. All
Krishna.
glories, all glories, all
Krishna,
glories to Guru and
Hare
Param.
Krishna.